somebody in the buyout market, because if you don't, it's like, oh, what's wrong with your GM? The fan base is all pissed when most of these buyouts don't even do anything.
Yeah. Well, I think he's a big one. I think he would play crunch time in a playoff game for, any of the best teams potentially. Clippers definitely could play crunch time for them. Lakers, whether he could supplant Dwight, I don't know. It's certainly not what they need. I think they need help elsewhere, but at the very least,
Dwight's been fine. We were wrong about it.
Well, I'm still not giving up. I still don't trust it. I really
can't believe you won't.
I still won't give up.
He has been far better and more productive and quiet.
Yeah,
and I really underestimated the LeBron factor. I did. I just underestimated that. Like, what Dwight can't do is be Dwight with LeBron as his teammate. And I didn't think of that enough. And he's been a productive member of the rotation, which is more than he's been for like the last 7 stops.
It's not one of LeBron's top 10 accomplishments of all time, but it might be in the top 40. Like redeeming Dwight, the unredeemable teammate.
What's lower?
Making the 2018 finals. The fourth question, quick. Can Utah climb to number 2? I really think this is important because I think it's hard to play there. And with the kind of team they have, and Utah or Denver getting that 2 spot and getting a home court at least for a couple rounds. And both of those are teams that I'm not 100% on, but I'm not really 100% on anyone in the West. And I don't know. I can't remember thinking the 2 seed mattered in other years. Like I feel like it matters this year in both conferences because the ability to avoid the top team and then have an easier first round opponent, all that stuff. I think it's going to really matter this year because the Lakers are locked into 1. And whether Utah can get their shit together. And what we saw from Connolly right before the All-Star break was pretty encouraging. So I would say from a talent standpoint, they're probably 3rd behind the Lakers and Clippers. But again, neither of us have really liked what we've seen from this Clippers season at all. And I don't know when that on switch clicks on, but they're behaving like a team that's, running on fumes after winning 4 straight titles. And they didn't. They just got together this year. I don't get it.
I'm not as anti-Clippers as you are. So I would like to get out of that boat.
Very fair.
Row me to the dock and I'll watch and maybe take some pictures. But,
okay.
Why are you like, I think what you just said there is very fair and accurate about them almost acting like they're coasting. Like, hey, we're not gonna play as like Golden State's defense last year in the regular season. Like, hey, guys, like this is year 5. We're not gonna close out and scream switches as intensely because we know what we're capable of. That seems to bother you. Do you think that's bothering you too much to the point where you're being a little too dismissive of the Clippers?
I think they have some holes. I don't think they have enough size. I don't know who their best 5 is, and I don't think they know either.
What's your deal with Shamet?
Well, we're saving Shamet. Shamet's
okay. Sorry.
Yeah, Shamet. I just need to see it. I really like teams heading into the playoffs who have never won a title before to rip off like at least 3 weeks of excellence. I don't think I'm asking too much. Just show it to me for 3 weeks. Show me the consistency of what it takes to be a really good team night after night after night and knock some teams off. If you go through the history of the NBA, nobody's, I don't think, ever won the title out of nowhere that was just erratic during the season that had never won the title before. I know now Kawhi is a special case because he won the title last year, so there's some variables with it, but I just would like to see them kick some ass for a couple weeks. I don't think I'm asking for too much. Win like 8 games in a row. Can they do that? Can they win 8 straight? Just look good.
Like even this week,
look good for 2 weeks.
I was looking at Paul George in that Philly game in the first half. I go, okay, like what is up, man?
Yeah.
I remember the beginning of last year where I watched like the first week of games. I go, what is going on with this guy at Oklahoma City? And then I'm thinking like, look at Oladipo just saying, like Oladipo looked like a dog. And I'm like, this guy, like, I want to go to war with Oladipo and like, look at Paul George again. And then Paul George went on to like an almost MVP type run there for a few months. I go, okay, here we go again. Like as soon as I go, hey, do I need to change my mind on this guy? And then the guy like turns into the best player ever. But then it's like, okay, well, what is the best player ever? Like hitting threes and rebounds and shooting it well, but disappearing. And then when he left the Boston game with the hamstring thing, I think is what it was. I go, okay, well, hopefully he actually is hurt because I've watched him really closely in the combination of these last 2 games, and he's invisible. As good as Chris Bosh is, like my Hall of Fame rule is like, I don't know, if you turn invisible for long stretches and I forget you're out there, like, is that really who you are? And I know people think that's too harsh, but I think that's kind of the way you got to look at some of these guys. And I'm imagining like the Clippers, they're all on the same page with all this stuff. And I don't, I know when that piece came out about, well, some guys resented it. I mean, everybody resents everybody at work. Like, I'm sure you can always find somebody to say something.
I don't know what that's like at all.
But I'm not as down on them because of Kawhi. I really, every time I watch Kawhi, I go, he might be the best. And I was going through the numbers, so he's not like clearly number one statistically, but I think Kawhi might actually be the best isolation player. Like, give me the ball, I'm going to the hoop in the entire league. And I know there's guys ahead of him efficiency wise, but it's maybe the least spectacular ISO guy who's also the best at one time in the league.
I feel the best about him when there's 2 minutes left and they need a basket. Name the team. I feel the best about his chances these days. I know Harden is, scoring whatever a game, but I just feel like I'm always surprised when Kawhi doesn't score in that situation. Even the All-Star today when he had the ISO, I was like, not surprised that it went in. I would have been surprised if it didn't. The last thing really quick, then we got to take a break, is just the most fun team to get the West 8 seed. I don't think the Lakers are losing round 1. I think a Lakers-Pelicans round 1 with Zion just completely jacked up like somebody who had 17 Red Bulls and jumping over everybody. And on top of a Pelicans team that the more I watch them, the more I think like, all right, if they sneak into the 8 seed, they're really kind of like a 6 seed or a 5 seed with the amount of talent they have. Now, granted, they have a lot of first timers and things like that, but I just think from a star power standpoint, usually the first round sucks, right? Like you'll have a good 4 or 5. Maybe you might luck out with 1-3-6 series. But if it's Pelicans Lakers round 1, Zion on his way up, LeBron near the end, all the symmetry there. I just feel like those are can't miss basketball games. I'm trying to think of a scenario I wouldn't watch every minute of that series, and the scenario does not exist.
No, I would be unreachable during those games because the Zion thing is as much fun as
save that. Let's save that for next week. We don't need to, but we have so much Zion time next 2 months.
Okay. But I'm saying right now, like I put Zion on the other TV thinking I'm going to focus on the main, like it'll be, okay, well, this is the game I actually really need to pay attention to because these are the teams.
Yeah.
And then I go, hey, 20 minutes just went by and you didn't watch the main TV. You just watched Zion and it's that good. It's actually as much fun as the first LeBron year where I just, every night LeBron was on and I go, I don't care what's going on. Like, I want to see this kid play. And it rewarded you. It rarely are we rewarded with these kinds of expectations. And Zion is making guys look like idiots out there. And against the Lakers, like if Memphis played him, I'd go, hey, you know what? Like Ja, love watching him too. But, it's a young team. They're 500. You'd imagine the Lakers are going to slap him around a little bit. The Zion part of it would just be so much fun that I'd probably want that series more than anything.
I stopped by and saw some of my NBA entertainment friends on Thursday when I was in Chicago. We were talking about Zion. And I was saying, like, imagine you're this guy, you're like a 6'11" power forward. Your whole life, every time there's been a ball in the air that bounced off the rim. And after a while, you're just like, oh, I'm in position 1,000 times out of 1,000. I'm jumping up and this rebound's going to go into my hands. And you go up to go get it like you always do. And then some fucking freak comes in sideways at a 45-degree angle at warp speed and just takes the rebound from you. Like, imagine what that would feel like. You'd feel like, what planet am I on? What just happened? How did I not get that rebound? Where did that human being come from? And he has those moments like 5 times a game where it's just like, it has no correlation to anything I've seen on a basketball court. It's really crazy. But
the thing is it's not just like this athlete running around impacting the game. Like he seals you and then he'll set up in front and then he puts that big ass on you and seals you. And you're
I love it.
Okay, I'm out of this play. And then you lob it and he catches you over there. His feet are so quick. Like the only thing that I could come up with, if forced to be like, okay, what's something that he keeps screwing up? He'll start his dribble a little too out, thinking like his momentum and 1 to 2 dribble. Because like there's guys that are 1 and 2 dribble guys, and there's guys that can dribble. And I'm not saying like he has to be out there like Chris Paul, but he'll drive into some situations where he's not going to get the ball through cleanly. But I don't really blame him because literally everything else he does works. And you can see there's certain times his second jump or the block that he had right before the All-Star break where the guy threw up the layup and was like, where the hell did he come from? Like, What was that? And it's going to be funny to watch teams play him a second time and see guys not even bother. Like they're going to drive to the rim and then bring it around like the back of the net, like in hockey, go Steve Nash baseline and like reset it because they're like, there's no point if he's there for me to even get the shot off.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle shit going on with him. See, damn it, I knew we were going to end up talking about him.
Well, that's okay.
When you said have the seal off, and that's such an underrated basketball skill these days, where somebody's just like, I'm posting up in this part of the second square in the block. You're not going to be able to get around me. I'm getting the pass. If they throw me a half decent entry pass, I'm getting it. You have no chance. It's little things like that with him, or the fact that when he passes out of like the double team and it's these hard frozen rope, perfect passes, like catching this shooter like right at their chest. Oh my, like he's got like pinpoint control. I could talk about Zion all day. We're going to take a break. Then we have a couple more segments and we're done. Okay. Very quickly. I'm just ripping through this. We both like the Wiggins trade for Golden State when it happened. I now love the Wiggins trade for Golden State. I think it actually was a potential game changer for them. It's become apparent immediately what he brings to the table for them and also what an interesting fit he's going to be with Curry and Clay when they're all playing together again. Not to mention they got this extra first-round pick. Now they have their own first-round pick. Minnesota's in a year. They have a tradable guy in Wiggins who's only 24. And I just think all around a phenomenal salvage for them. And I think a really good lesson yet again with the NBA, where if you're trading for a distressed asset on a shitty team that has had not a lot of ups and a lot of downs, those are the guys to get. Guys with high pedigree who have not been in a good situation. It's clear and this ties into the Draymond thing, which I know you love to talk about. You're putting a guy who has never been with like any sort of a leader really ever. He's had crazy Jimmy Butler, who was a catastrophe in Minnesota from a leadership standpoint. Towns, the captain of the all-miserable team. And now you're putting him with Draymond, who's been, Draymond, as you've pointed out over and over again, just a fucking pro this season. Like, it would have been so easy for him to say, oh, my calf hurts. I'm going to sit out 2 weeks. Or, yeah, I'm not going to go hard tonight. And he's just not wired that way. He's playing with, a G League team, and he's been going hard. And he's really carried himself like a champ. And now you put a guy like Wiggins with him, and Wiggins just is not going to dog it with Draymond on his team. It's not happening. So I really like that trade for them. I know you liked it too, but I wanted to mention that. If you want to add anything, go ahead.
Love the Draymond part of this because, I've caught him a few more times. I bet you there's certain nights he doesn't know who's on his team, at least in the beginning. And I don't think there are many players, and I know he's not, look, if you max Draymond and you made him your number 1 or 2 offensive options, you'd be making a huge mistake. Draymond is unique, but he's also a beneficiary of what he was allowed to do and all the shooting around him. Like when you play with the 2 best shooters ever, like you're just going to be a different kind of player. You just are. And, as much as I always talk about these kind of high usage, maybe fake big number guys, as I'm trying to sift through like who's a real guy and what helps you win games and who doesn't, Clay's so perfect because he's all of those massive numbers with like the lowest usage ever. It's actually like there's a way to argue that Clay's like almost as valuable as anybody because so few people could ever impact a game the way he does, having the ball as little as he does. I mean, it's like that should be on his tombstone.
Yeah.
Not that, I'm trying to be morbid here, but Draymond, if other guys are like, hey, 5 straight finals, we've had this run. My dogs, my guys, I don't know why I said dogs. I'm trying to sound cool. I wasn't even trying to sound cool. It just sounded stupid. I'm out. I'm not going to do this. I think a lot of stars with his resume, and I mean like team accomplishment resume, would go, I'm out. Like, I'm not really doing this. And he's the absolute opposite. And I know no one's watching, but when you watch it, he deserves a ton of credit for that. And I know you can say he's doing his job and all that stuff. A lot of dudes wouldn't do that. Now, as far as the trade, I don't think if I push back a little, though, I don't like you saying, hey, now you have Wiggins who's tradable. Let's see him play better first before he goes from one of the least tradable contracts to now supposedly tradable, because I don't think that's necessarily fair.
I don't mean tradable as in, oh, what an asset we have now. I mean,